Good morning, one and all. Myself, Soujanya, working as an assistant professor in Information Technology Department. Now, I'm here to explain about the concept called as Java. Subject is Object-Oriented Programming through Java. Now, before we enter into the Java subject, earlier we have learned procedure-oriented programming, that is C language. Now, when one language is there, why we are learning this Java? First, I would like to give a clear clarity about the procedure-oriented programming and object-oriented programming language. Then I will enter into the deep details about this Java programming. In the procedure-oriented programming language, that is C language, it mainly focuses on the functions. Right? In object-oriented programming language, it completely focuses on the objects. Right? In C language, we focus top-down approach, whereas in OOPS, we follow bottom-up approach. Means that whenever we write a program in Java language, from the bottom part onwards, it will compute the completion. And whereas in C language, it will compute the execution from the starting line to the ending part. That is called top-down approach. Now, here we have learned what object word. What is an object means? Object is an instance of the class or real world existence of the class, right? First of all, what is a class in Java language means? Class is a blueprint or an imaginary thing. It consists of the object or real world existence. When a class have object, then only we can call it as a meaningful word. For example, if we take a class as a human, a specific name like my name, if you take Soujanya, this is the real-time existence of the person. So you can take Soujanya as one object. Like that, you can take multiple names as the object. It means that a class can consist of multiple objects. With the help of these objects features, we are going to achieve the beautiful principles of Java language. Now, one more difference here is, in C language, it mainly focuses on the functions rather than on the data. Whereas in OOPS, it mainly focuses on the data and also methods. In C language, the data securities we need to compromise. Whereas in OOPS, we can provide more security to our data. Why means here, whatever the program you write in C language, that is globally accessible. Whereas in OOPS, whatever the program you write, you can put some restrictions on the confidential data. For example, if you are handling any bank applications where username, password, all those things are not accessible to the outside people. So we can provide security to the like user ID or password. Those things we can provide security using protect keyword. Those things we will learn in the coming classes. So we can provide security to our data in OOPS language. Now coming to limited code reusability, one of the drawback in POP, procedure oriented programming, once we write the code, if you want to use the CM code somewhere in the program, we cannot reuse it. But whereas in OOPS, we can reuse those code using the OOPS principle like inheritance, polymorphism. And one more drawback in procedure-oriented programming is it is divided into functions. Like the code will be very large compared with the POP, object-oriented programming. In object-oriented programming, it mainly focuses on the concept called as class and objects. It doesn't give more priority to the functions. So, complete given concept is divided into classes and objects. So, it is bit better compared with the procedure-oriented programming. With this, I can give a bit more clarity about the procedure-oriented and object-oriented. That in procedure-oriented, it is a bit lengthy. We need to compromise on security and code reusability is not available. To overcome from those problems, we have introduced a concept called as object-oriented programming. Now, the few examples of procedure-oriented is C language and Pascal. Coming to object-oriented programming are Java, C++, Python. All those are object-oriented programming languages. Coming to the data handling in procedure-oriented, it completely depends on the functions concept only. So data and functions are complete separate. Whereas in object-oriented programming, we can combine them using the concept called as a encapsulation and we can provide the security. And in procedure-oriented programming, it will be difficult to handle a big program or large program. Whereas in object-oriented programming, we can organize the code in such a way that we can do the task very easily. And real-world modeling using procedure-oriented, it is not that suitable. Using object-oriented programming, we can develop real-world applications. Coming to this inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction, all those are the fundamental principles of object-oriented programming. That's why those concepts are applicable only in the OOPs, so those are supported. Whereas in procedure-oriented programming, this concept is not possible, not at all available, this inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation. Coming to this example, function calls, all those comes under the procedure-oriented. Objects, interacting, all those comes under this object-oriented programming. Now, when this Java came into the real-world existence, all those things we will see. Evolution of Java. Java was originally developed by the James Gosling. He used to work at Sun Microsystems. Earlier, this used to call as OAK, O-A-K. Now, later they renamed as Java. In the year 1995, it came into the use. Originally, officially launched in the year 1995. Now, before we enter into the Java concept, why still Java language is popular still today means, even though it has existed in the year 1995, still it is a current trending language means, main thing is it is platform independent. Because of this platform independent feature means what? Run any OS. Whatever the program you write in Java language, it is not specific to the particular OS only. So, because of that platform independence feature, this Java language is more popular till now. Now, coming to the library support and community is very huge for Java. What do you mean by like a huge community and library support means? Whenever you have any problem in the Java program, there are multiple group of communities are there. People are there to solve our queries. We can post in Google. Multiple people using the Java, so they will resolve our queries. Coming to the library support. Library means in order to run any application, we must have the supporting libraries. Vast library support is there. And it is used in the Android development, desktop applications, and everywhere Java language is useful. And it is highly secure and robust. Highly secure, why we are saying it as a highly secure means because of the protecting visibility which is available using the protected keyword, we can provide security to our data. Once we provide security to our data, we can say that application is the robust application. Now, easy to learn for students. It is very user friendly and students can easily catch this Java language. That's why it is easy to learn for students. Now, coming to the features of Java, it is platform independent, just now we have discussed. Because of this JVM and bytecode, it is platform independent. We can say we can run a program in any OS and run on any OS. It is completely object oriented. It is secure and robust. Multi-threaded concept is there. Multi-threaded means, thread means a small part of the program or module of the program is called as a thread. So, multi-thread means at a time we can run multiple tasks. Means multitasking available in the object-oriented programming. Now, coming to the portable feature means runs anywhere with JVM. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. Whatever the program you write in Java language in particular OS, that we can run in any OS. It is irrespective of the OS, your program will work. Now, coming to the scalable means from smaller program to it will exceed to till enterprise applications also. That is called scalability. Now, I can say the real life analogy in order to make you understand what exactly is a class, what exactly is an object. The terms class and objects terminology is like a programming language terminology. When we own those concepts to our real world, we can easily understand. Now, if you take the real life analogy of a class, if you take class as a human, right, that human is a blueprint, as an imaginary thing. When a particular person exists, then we call it as an object. For example, if you take class as a human, real-time existence of that human is myself, Soujanya. That is object. Each object has its own features. Like if you take different person, they'll be having different name, age, behavior, all those are different. So each object vary from one another one. So if you take a class, it consists of multiple objects. Each object has its own features. Now, what is a feature means? Name, age, those are comes under the attributes part. Coming to the behavior, coming to the functionality, those comes under the methods part. A class can consist of variables and methods. When we combine these together in order to perform a particular task. Now, the principles of OOPs are encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. We'll go deep inside what is inheritance, what is polymorphism, what is encapsulation. Now, this JDK, JRE, JVM. These are the terms we use in order to understand the Java language. What is JDK? Java Development Kit. It means that in order to run any Java application, you must have JDK in your system. Once you install JDK, then only you can run your Java application. So JDK consists of JRE and JVM. You need to install only JDK. It consists of JRE and JVM. Now, what is JRE? Java Runtime Environment. It is part of the JDK only. We need not install separate JRE and separate JVM. Now, what is JVM means? It is a Java virtual machine. We'll go deep inside what is JRE, what is JVM. Once you write any Java program, we will save it as .java extension. For example, if you take hello program, hello.java we will save. Once we save our program, in order to run that application, we need to compile first. So using JavaC compiler, the program will compile. Once the program is compiled, it will be treated as hello.java will convert it into hello.class. Right? Once the .class file is created, now this JRE will take into the picture. JRE will try to execute that bytecode into machine understandable code like this. Our hello.java program is compiled using JavaC compiler. Once the program is compiled, it is in the form of bytecode. That bytecode will be given as an input to the JRE. The JRE will provide an environment to execute that code. JRE will give only that environment. Now, in order to execute that code, Java virtual machine will come into the picture. It will take the responsibility to execute our code. So, it will take the input as the bytecode. It will execute that code in the machine understandable language. Once the code is converted into machine understandable code, it will process the instruction, whatever we give, then it will give back the output. So, JRE will provide only the environment. JVM will take the responsibility to execute our given code. Now, this is the sample template or structure of a Java program. First step is it consists of the package declaration. This is the optional part of our program demands. We will write the package. Then before that number 1, we have given some lines. Those are called as a comment lines. It means that line will not be coming to the execution part. When we give these lines, it is single comment line. Now after that package, some space, my package is there. Package is the keyword. My package is the user defined name. This is the first line of our Java program. This is optional part. If you want to mention a program into package structure, you can give. Otherwise, you can ignore. After that, import statement. Import java.util.scanner. These is also not mandatory part. If a program demands, we can put. Otherwise, we can ignore these first step and second step. Now, the third step is the mandatory part. We have to give in this way only. Public class space some class name. This is a mandatory thing. We cannot excuse this one. So public is the keyword. We have to give this access specifier. After that, class is the keyword. It means the given part is the class. As we discussed just before, class is a blueprint. So we are going to give the detail about the class. After class keyword, my first program. This my first program is a user defined name. You can give any relevant name according to your own application. After that, you have to open the brace. Once you open the brace, public static void main, parenthesis, string args. This line we have to give as it is. Why? Because any Java program execution starts from the main block. That's why we have to give this public static void main mandatory. If a program doesn't have this public static void main block, you cannot execute your program. This is the fundamental part. Once you open that public static void main method, you have to write whatever you want to perform. In this case, I want to just print a message. In order to print a message to the console, we have to give system.out.println. We have to pass as it is. If you open a brace, it must consist of the close brace. After public static void main, one opening brace is there. Right? It must have the closing brace. In the same way, after class name also one open brace is there. It must have the closed brace. For example, if you forget this close brace, your program won't get executed. Before you compile your program, you must check how many opening braces are there. The respective close braces it must have. Now, a sample program. Class, after class keyword, some hello. This hello is user defined name. You can give any relevant name according to your application. Once you open the brace, as we discussed, public static void main is the mandatory part in order to execute your program. Once you open your method, whatever the task you want to perform, you have to mention in these two braces. Here I just want to print a message, so I have given system.out.println method. In the double quotes, whatever you mention, that you will see at the console. So here I want to see hello world. Here if you write your name, that will be printed at the output part. So once you write this program, you have to save as this class name, whatever the name you mention, .java, you have to save mandatory. Once you save like this, then only your program will run. So in this scenario, hello is my class name. So I must save this program as hello.java. Once we save our program, how we need to compile means we have to go to the command prompt. We have to give this javac a compiler space whatever the program name you have mentioned, that program name .java. If your program is error free, it won't give any errors. Otherwise, it will throw errors. For example, if you do any mistake here, void spelling or any other mistake, it will throw that error. According to the error, we need to debug the code and we need to fix the issue. Once the code is error free, it will give just command prompt only. Then compilation is done. You have to run your code. The command to run the code is you have to mention Java keyword, give space, your class name. In this scenario, class name is hello. You have to mention your class name. So Java space hello. When you type like this and hit enter, it will give the output as hello world. Whatever you have mentioned in the double quotes, it will give as the output, right? This is the simple way to execute the basic first program. Now you may get the doubt. For example, this program hello.java I have saved in some other D folder VNR. Let's assume a scenario. In the D drive VNR folder I have saved as hello.java. Let's assume. Now at the time of running the code, you must be clarity about what is the path here. The code you have saved is in the different location and the path you are trying to run is different location. You may get some errors. So before you run, you have to clear what is the path you have saved here and where you are trying to run. This is the scenario if you try to write the code in Notepad and try to run the code in command prompt. Multiple ways to run our program, like you can use any IDE like Eclipse, VS Code, Edit Place. If you use those kind of IDEs, you can simply go to that run command that will execute, that will take care of your part. But this scenario, what I have explained is, if you type the given code in the Notepad and if you want to run using command prompt, this is the procedure. Now, once we have, here we have given the code as hello.java, right? We have seen how to compile, how to run. What will happen inside the system is, this is the procedure. This we cannot see, but we need to have clarity how our program will execute. Once we save our program as hello.java, when you try to compile using javac space program name.java, this javac compiler will take the responsibility to compile your Java program. So this will convert our .java program to .class file. Means in our understandable language to bytecode it will convert. Once this part is done, now JRE will come into the picture. JRE will take the responsibility to execute the code. Compilation is done. We need to check the output also, no? So in order to check the output, we have to run the code. This JRE provides the environment. Under the JRE, we have a Java virtual machine. This Java virtual machine will take the bytecode as the input and it will convert it into machine understandable language code. Then it will give the output. This is the internal process. What will happen when we run our code? A sample program. What is a class? What is the object? Here, if you see, class is the keyword we have to mention compulsory. After that, I have given here student. This is the class name, right? Here you can give any relevant name. Once you open the brace, here I have int id, string name. These are the attributes or properties of the particular class student. If you take student class, the basic properties of the student is ID, name, which year, all those things are the properties. Here I have taken only 2 examples. Now, once you declare the class, as I said, a class consists of multiple objects. In this scenario, student space S1. This S1 is called as an object is equals to nuisance. This is the syntax to create the object. Class name, obj means object, equals to new is the keyword. It will take the responsibility to create the instance of the class or object of the class. New class name. This is the syntax to create your object. I'm repeating again, how to create an object means whatever the class name you have given in your program, that class name you have to mention, give a space, some keyword. That keyword we will call it as an object. Make sure this object name should not clash with the Java keywords. Java keywords means already built-in keywords, whatever are available in Java, that we should not give as an object. For example, int is a data type. It has specific meaning. That int we should not give as an object here. Equals to new class name. Whatever the class name you have mentioned, that name you have to give. This is called as an object. And this scenario, S1 is an object. In this case, you can write student space S2 is equals to new student. Like this, as many objects as you want, you can create. S1, S2, all these are called as an objects. Okay. So each object has its own properties. As we discussed, multiple students are having their own names, their own IDs, their own unique features, right? So in the same way, a class can consist of multiple objects. Each object will be having unique features, its own properties and its own methods. Once you create an object, how we can assign the values means that object dot, what is the variable? That variable equals to value. S1 dot ID is equals to 1 at 1. As it is a numerical value, we can assign directly. If it is a string collection of characters, we have to pass in the double quotes compulsory. If we create S2, S2 dot ID is equals to some value. S2 dot name is equals to some other value. Like this, you can assign the values. Now, we'll see data types and variables. What is a data type? What is a variable means? Data type, it gives which type of data you are going to handle. In the name itself, you can understand which type of data. Is it a numerical value, decimal value, characters, or floating? Whatever the values you are going to assign to the variable, it gives clarity. Here we have two types of data types, primitive data types and non-primitive data types. First, we'll understand what is primitive data type. This int, float, char, boolean, these are called as primitive data types in Java language. Means that these are built-in. It has a specific purpose to store the values. Like int is for numerical, float is for decimal, character is for single character, boolean is for true or false. Right? Non-primitive means these data types, non-primitive types mainly we use to create the object. Using this arrays, strings, objects, you can assign or you can refer to some other thing. Whereas primitive types only store the values. These arrays you can refer to some other thing. Like this, you can treat it as a class. Now, what is a variable? Here we have a variable concept. What is a variable means? It is used to store some value for time being purpose. In the previous scenario, we have given ID. This ID is called as a variable. This name is called as a variable. Right? Just for time being sake, we can assign some value in order to fulfill our task. Now here variables are different types. Local variable, instance variable and static variable. Three types of variables are there. Local variable means whatever the variable you have declared within these braces, int a is equals to 5. This variable a is equals to 5 local to this block only. Outside this block, you cannot access the value of a. This is called as a local. Instance means non-static. Whatever the value you have assigned, that is if it is a non-static, we can call it as an instance variable. And what is a static means? If you mention static keyword before any value, this is a static property. You may get the doubt. What is the use of giving a variable as a static means? This value a is called as a class level property. If you declare it as a static, it becomes a class level property. You can access this variable using the class name also. You need not create the object in order to access this value. For example, your class name is, let's assume VNR. Let's assume Using this VN class name, you can directly access the static properties like that class name dot a. It will print value, whatever the value you have assigned, that it will print. For example, if it is a non-static, let's assume in order to access this variable, you must create the instance, then only you can access the non-static property. This is a clear description about the primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Now, if you take a data type, it must consist of the default range. Range means, for example, if you use int, what is its capacity, how many values it will store, and what is the range. Like if you take a byte, it will store from -128 to 127 only. As part of your application, if you want to use the values in this range, you can go with the byte. If your values are exceeding this 127, you have to use the short. According to our usage, you can choose the relevant data type. Now this comments. Comments means once you write a program, as part of your program, if you don't want to consider a particular line in the execution part, you can put this comment line. Means this part won't be considered into your execution. Now this is single comment line. Now I want to block multiple lines of the code. I don't want to consider block of code into the execution. So instead of deleting and writing the code again and again, simply if I put like this, whatever the code it is mentioned under these two symbols, it won't be considered into the execution part. Again, later when you want to reuse, you can remove these two symbols, you can reuse the code. For code reusability, we can use this comment lines. And if you want to mention proper documentation, means the code is what is this application, what you are going to write it. You have to write like this. You have to explain clearly what is this application and close this. Means if whoever the newcomer will come into your project, they will clearly understand what exactly your program is. In next video, we will see the next coming parts.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.